Joining us on the phone right now are Danny and Lynn from Circle of Fate, an excellent band out of Chicago. Guys, how are you doing today?
Good. How you doing?
Doing awesome.
Welcome to the Bastard Den. I appreciate you coming in. Danny, I guess we'll start with you. Tell us a little about, Lynn's a new drummer. She just came into the band here. Tell us about Lynn coming into Circle of Fate, and what challenges does that present for the band, and also what does that add to Circle of Fate, having her as a new drummer?
Yeah, it's we actually ran into a situation where we wound up having to look for another drummer, and we came across Lynn. Actually, one of our managers saw a video of her on YouTube and sent it to me and said, check it out, let me know what you think. And I got back to him and I said, hey, she's really good. So we contacted her and she came out for the audition and did a really good job at the audition. So, we had her come out again, we jammed and we did a show, and the show was awesome. So, ever since the audition, we've just been going forward pretty gung-ho with her, and she's a great addition to the band. She's a phenomenal drummer. She's got good stage presence, and she's female, so that also is pretty cool. A lot of guys like that fact.
And Lynn, I guess I'll kind of pose the same question to you too. I mean, what does this mean to you to become a member and the drummer for Circle of Fate?
Well, it was actually kind of a surprise how it all happened, because I think in life a lot of times when you expect things to happen, they don't, and then it works the opposite way too. But, of course, I was a little bit nervous going into the audition, but I'm very anal, so I like to be overly prepared, and I think I was pretty well prepared. And then they offered me the Clearwater show on August 13th, so of course I had a couple weeks to really learn the music and the cover songs that they do. But the main thing were the originals. I mean, that was like my true focus, just to really hone in and get those down. But we had a good show at the Clearwater, and for me, I mean, just to be able to work with these type of musicians and just them being so amazing and so talented and easy to work with, it really has been a really good experience. And Michelle is amazing as far as fronting the band. Danny and Dan are fabulous musicians, so it really has been a great experience so far.
Lynn, you mentioned Michelle, and Danny, I wanted to ask you about this. On your bio page, it talks all about how she came from doing all these voiceovers for radio ads and doing some jingle work and stuff like that, which is, all that stuff's important and has its place, but it's hardly singing in front of people on a stage with a band. How did you guys find her and bring her to Circle of Fate from doing that type of voice work?
It's actually kind of interesting. I was in a couple popular metal bands a long time ago, and I kind of basically put it on the side for a while. And then after a few years, one of our mutual friends said that she had someone that was interested in doing some writing with. And I said, okay, that'd be kind of cool, let me meet her and, see what kind of music she has and stuff. And the thing I liked about Michelle was a lot of her writing was kind of poppy, and I thought it would be kind of cool with the kind of edge that I like to play with on the guitar. So we kind of started toying with it. And, the first couple albums sounded a little bit different. But then, on the third album, Dawn of a New Era, we kind of tried to go real heavy, and it got a certain feel for it. But then the Back to Life album, when that came out, it was a perfect mixture where it was starting to really come together. And ever since then, the songs have been just kind of flowing. Michelle used to do... she was a backup singer for a while, too, in a band, but she wanted to always be the lead. So when we started writing songs, I said, we should put a whole band together, get a drummer. I can call my old drummer up, which I did, and he wanted to do it right away and thought it was a great idea. And that's kind of how it all came together. And we started doing shows, and then as we started doing them, she started to really progress and find herself basically as a lead singer. And then she really took the reins and took off with it, and it's she reminds me kind of of a Pat Benatar Joan Jett, where she sings with balls, and she's very commanding of the audience when we play, and she draws attention like a lead person should. And that was awesome. So, it just kind of took off from there. And as we were doing that, she was still doing jingle work, and she actually, she's done a lot of stuff. So, but the band has really come a long way since we had first started. We've been together about 14 years now, so it's been a while.
So, Danny, you just mentioned Back to Life, your most recent release, and back in March, you guys made a video for What If, one of the tracks on there. Right. What was that like making that video?
It was really, the whole thing was cool because we recorded the Back to Life album downtown at a really nice studio, and when we were finished with it, we were happy with it, but everyone really liked the song What If. Like, it's a great song, but it's not quite edgy enough. Mm-hmm. So we wanted to re-record it. So we re-recorded it with the producer, Eric LaBrosse, who's from Wisconsin, and he's got a studio called Cherry Pit Studios. And out of all the people that we worked with, Eric was able to capture the exact tone and the sound that we were looking for. And when we redid What If, it turned out great in the studio. So we're like, oh, this is going to rock. So we actually recorded the video in Wisconsin as well. The owner, Bob, from the Back Bar, a place called the Back Bar in Janesville, Wisconsin, he's got a warehouse in the back of the bar that was empty. So he said we could go in there. It was like in January, and that's where we recorded the video. So it was pretty cool.
Was the warehouse heated?
It was a little bit heated, yes. It was cold at first, but after he turned the heat on a little bit for us, and after we were moving around, and having some beverages, it warmed up a bit.
Barley pops are always good on a cold day, especially in a cold warehouse.
Yeah.
Lynn, you guys are currently, Circle of Faith is currently working on the 5th studio CD. A couple new tracks or a couple of the tracks were produced by LA producer Eric Greedy and mastered by an industry pro, Brian Big Bass, is it Gardner?
Gardner, yeah.
Yeah.
Our executive producer wanted us to do some of the songs that he had heard Michelle and I write, and he really, really liked them. So he came across some stuff, and he was looking through some things. And then I got an email one day from a girl in Germany that he actually didn't know, and that's where he's from. And she was telling me that Eric had come across our stuff and asked her to contact me. So I contacted him back and talked to him a little bit. Well, we wound up, our executive producer flew him out from LA to Chicago, and he spent a whole week with us, and we recorded the 2 songs. It was really cool. And he's worked with, all kinds of people from like Dio to Barbara Streisand and just all over the ladder. And we got to like really sit down with him and work on stuff closely and all that stuff, and it turned out great. And then we had some issues with the drum tracks, and he had to leave. So when he got back to LA, he actually called up somebody that he knows to come in and do the drums. It wound up being the old drummer from Slash's Snake Pit. Matt Waug is his name, Laug, and he actually plays for an Italian superstar right now out in Italy. So that whole thing just wound up being really cool, and the 2 songs got mastered by Brian, who's done like all of Michael Jackson's albums and all these other huge bands and stuff. So that was really cool to have him master it. So, and it was nice too because like Matt has done being in Slash's Snake Pit, and he's playing drums for a big Italian superstar right now. I actually sent him an email and thanked him for doing the songs and stuff, and he wrote me back right away and said he loved the songs and good luck with them and stuff. And I thought that was cool that somebody on that level still down to earth like that is pretty cool.
Danny, you guys are admittedly taking your new CD down a bit of a more commercial avenue. Are you worried that that's going to turn any current or maybe potential fans away?
No, because it's gonna be a little bit more commercial as far as like melodies and hookiness, but the metal edge is still gonna be there because that's kind of how I play on my guitar. I just have that edge to it. So we just had a nice way to blend it all together. Where like What If is a great example. What If is I think is pretty chunky and heavy, but it's also very catchy and it's got some nice melodies going on in it. So and the video's taken off. We're almost at 3,500 hits, and we just released it in March. So it's going pretty well. And we've gotten a lot of really good responses from it.
So for Lynn, Circle of Fate was in Wisconsin over Labor Day weekend. Where'd you guys play, and what was the best part of the weekend?
What was the best part of the weekend?
Yeah.
When it stopped raining.
That was a rough Saturday.
We were outside, so it was like the whole thing. But it was, actually, I will tell you the best part of the weekend was the energy from the crowd. I mean, it was like, when we first started, it was like all these people just showed up out of nowhere, and the way Michelle and the band works that crowd is amazing, and we had an incredible energy coming off that crowd, and they really seemed to really enjoy the band. So,
where was that
so
at?
that, of course, as a player, that always feels really good.
Where was the show at, Lynn?
It was at the Bay. What is it, Danny? Bay Rest Resort.
Oh, the Bay Rest. Yeah,
What
the
is
Bay
it?
Rest Resort. It's the
In
Bay Rest
Arkdale,
Resort
Wisconsin.
in Arkdale. Right.
Yeah, beautiful, beautiful properties. So,
Right. You ever thought of
we're outside.
being a rock and metal band? Ever thought of you playing at a resort, right? Hey, it's a gig, though. You'll take
Well,
it.
it was definitely a rockin' crowd, so I can tell you that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Danny, what's coming up on the Circle of Faith calendar? Where are you guys going to be playing out at?
Right now, the next show would be this Friday at Club 38 in West Chicago. And we're playing that show again with Shannon Dame, and she's out of Wisconsin as well. She's in Lake Geneva. She's been doing a lot of shows lately. She's got some good stuff. And then the other band is called She Likes Blue, which had been broken up for about 5 years, but just recently got back together. So that should be a pretty nice show. After that, we're kind of going to be recording and writing a little bit more. And in the meantime, our management's going to be setting up some more stuff, I guess. From what I heard last, there was going to be some stuff at the House of Blues, the Metro, and then some out-of-state stuff as well.
That's awesome. And if we wanted to check out Circle of Fate on the Intertubes, maybe buy a CD or 10, how would we do that?
It's very easy. You can just go to www.circleoffate.net, and there's actually a store on there where you can get downloads, ringtones, T-shirts, all that kind of stuff. There's a lot of different pages on there that you can check out, discographies and photos and stuff like that. And we're also on YouTube. It's I believe it's Circle of Fate Rocks. And all you have to do on YouTube is just go in the search and do Circle of Fate What If, and then you can check out the What If video that we were just talking about that's on there. And we are also on Facebook. You just type in Circle of Fate and we'll pop up. I think we have actually 3 pages on there. So it's, and you can email us on any of those pages and we'll get back to you right away. One of the things we pride ourselves on is communicating with our fans. And a lot of fans contact us and just ask us once in a while what's going on, and we'll write them back and let them know, future shows or what songs we're working on, stuff like that, because fans like to hear things like that, so we like to keep in touch with them.
Absolutely. I love it when bands stay in touch with the fans. They don't lose sight of why they're doing the rock and roll and doing the shows,
Yeah, well, without fans, you don't really have much to play to.
Tell us about it,
So
man.
true.
Lynn and Danny, thank you very much for coming into the Bastard Den. We really do appreciate it. Your tunes are awesome, and hopefully,
Thank you very much.
hopefully you get a chance to come to Madison sometime soon. We'd love to see you.
Oh, yeah, we'll talk
you.
to our management and set it up for sure, and thanks for having us on here. We appreciate it.
All right, let's hear the song that they have the video out for right now. What If? Circle of Fate. You're in the Bastard Den, Max Inc.